The love that betrayed me taught me self-love. I was 23 years old when this love story happened, and this time it felt completely different from my first relationship. I was no longer a teenager trying to understand what love was. I thought I finally knew. I thought I had found the person who was meant to stay. He was really, really good to me, in every way that mattered. He understood me without needing long explanations. Sometimes he could tell what I wanted, or how I felt just by looking at my eyes, and that made me feel deeply seen, like I was finally understood by another human being. Being with him felt safe, not exciting in a dramatic way, but calm and warm, the kind of love that feels like home. He treated me gently and respectfully, and I never felt afraid to be myself around him. He treated me like a princess, not because I demanded it, but because he wanted to. My parents loved him too. They treated him like their own son, like a future son-in-law. And that made me feel even more certain. Because when the people who love you most trust someone, you believe even more strongly that you made the right choice. We dated for 3 years. 3 years of routines and plans and shared dreams. 3 years of building something together. And during those years, I truly believed he was the one. I imagined a future with him so clearly that I never thought it could disappear. Staying with him felt stable. It felt like life finally made sense. And I remember thinking that after everything I had been through, this love was my reward. Then one day everything broke. Not slowly, not gently. All at once, I found out that he cheated on me. Not with a stranger, but with my best friend. That sentence still feels heavy to say, because it was not just one betrayal. It was 2. I lost the man I loved with my whole heart, and I lost the person I trusted the most. At the same time, I do not even know when they started. I do not know how long it had been happening. And maybe that was the most painful part, realizing that there was a whole truth I would never fully understand. I remember feeling numb at first, like my body was there, but my soul had left. My hands were shaking, and my mind kept asking the same questions again and again. Why? How? Since when? What did I do wrong? I felt betrayed in a way I had never felt before. My confidence disappeared overnight. I looked at myself and suddenly felt insecure about everything. My worth, my appearance, my personality, my choices. I kept wondering how something that felt so real could turn into something so cruel. And the hardest part was knowing that everyone knew we were in love. Everyone knew us as a couple, and now everyone would know I was betrayed. I locked myself in my room for months. Not days. Months. I did not want to go outside. I did not want to see people. I did not want to answer questions. Because how do you explain something like that? How do you explain that the man who treated you like a princess chose someone else? How do you explain that your best friend was part of the betrayal? I felt ashamed even though I did nothing wrong. I felt small even though I was the one who was hurt. I replayed memories again and again, trying to find signs I missed, moments I ignored, feelings I explained away. And the more I thought about it, the more exhausted I became. There were days when I barely ate, days when I stared at the ceiling and wondered how my life could change so suddenly. Losing one person hurts, but losing 2 people you love deeply at the same time feels like losing a part of yourself. I felt alone in a way I had never felt before. Slowly, very slowly, something began to change. Not because the pain disappeared, but because I became tired of hurting myself over something that was not my fault. One day I looked at myself and realized that I was punishing the wrong person. I was punishing me. That was the day I began to understand something important. Self-love is more important than anything else. More important than being chosen. More important than staying in a relationship. More important than proving your worth to people who did not protect your heart. I started with small things. I started eating properly again, choosing healthier food, drinking more water. taking care of my body not to change how it looked, but to respect it. I began exercising, not to distract myself, but to feel strong again. Every small step felt like I was slowly coming back to myself. I started doing things I loved, things I had forgotten about while building my life around someone else. I spent time alone without feeling empty. I learned how to enjoy my own company, how to sit with silence without feeling afraid. I focused on my work and started making my own money, and that gave me a sense of independence I had never felt before. I realized how powerful it feels to rely on yourself. I traveled to places I had always dreamed of visiting, places I once imagined going with him. And instead of feeling sad, I felt proud. Proud that I was brave enough to go alone. Proud that I did not let heartbreak stop me from living. And somewhere along the way, without forcing it, happiness returned. Not the loud kind, but the peaceful kind. Life became more meaningful than it ever was in that relationship, because this time my happiness was not dependent on someone else. It was built by me. Looking back now, I understand that love that betrays you is not love meant to stay. And someone who can hurt you like that was never meant to protect your future. What happened to me was not my fault. I trusted, I loved, and I was honest. Losing them was painful, but losing myself would have been worse. And choosing myself was the turning point of my life. If you are listening to this and going through betrayal, please remember this. Being betrayed does not mean you are not enough. It means you trusted someone who did not deserve you. And choosing yourself will always be the right decision. This is my second love story. It broke me, and then it rebuilt me into someone stronger. I am Lucy, and this is Unsaid Love.